surgeon was very clear, and I talked to his surgeon about it. So our herbalist made him a smoking blend. It's all kinds of herbs, and mullein is a huge part of it. There's no nicotine in it, so it doesn't hurt clotting, and that was a big part of what he was having issues with. So if you have any congestion, like you're really congested, you get a cold, and you burn green mullein and inhale it, I mean, you'll be coughing up stuff you've had in your lungs for like 5 years, but it's a great expectorant too. It's a great expectorant too. Green or dried, but green in particular. I mean, it's harsh. And you will be releasing some stuff that you probably wanted to get rid of. Mullein, common mullein.
Can you nettle also? I'm digging.
Nettle is
digging
good.
deep.
Nettle's good for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Wood nettles, any of your real spiny nettles. When you harvest nettles, you want to do it with some gloves on.
Right.
When you heat the nettles up, it nullifies the, what is it? What kind of acid is in it? Remember it off the top of my head. That burns when you get those nettles. Nettles, if you saute them in a little olive oil, they're awesome. They taste kind of like asparagus.
Right.
Nettles, wood nettles in particular, are great. We don't have a lot of nettles here,
Yeah.
but nettle tea, nettle soup, sauteing nettles and putting them in pasta and all kinds of stuff is great. Don't cook them till they get brown, because then you're knocking the vitamin A and the vitamin C out.
Yeah.
Just heat them up a little bit if you want all the nutrition you get out of them.
Good for
What could
allergies,
also
too.
It's allergies. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm not an herbalist, and I'm not really a plant guy, but I know a lot of plants. But I love eating wood nettles. There's all kinds of medicinal properties to nettles. I'm not sure what a lot of them are, but yes, nettles are really good for you.
is that the one that can be used for a poultice cover? Do you know? There's
No.
one that can be used.
You're looking for white man's foot, English pumpkin. And sister ivy, or poison ivy, is called ulata. It's a warrior plant, and its responsibility is to protect the forest. And if you notice, when you see sister ivy, she usually grows on the exterior before. She's not an interior plant, making sure that everything in the forest is protected. And the old ones say the reason why there's so much more sister ivy is because there's too many white people on this continent, that she has to protect things in the forest. And that's why old ones say there's so much more sister ivy now, because all the deforestation and cutting forests down. It's not really any more potent now, there's just a lot more of it. Now scientifically we know there's more carbon dioxide in the air because things are warmer, so we do have more sister ivy. But that's what the old ones say. If you let her do what she does, respect what she does, and find a balance, you won't have a problem with sister ivy. I can eat poison ivy and I don't get it. I'm not reactive. My father wasn't and my grandfather wasn't. I don't do that. And some people say, well, if you eat a leaf in the springtime, a baby bear. One of my favorite plants in the world, and one of the most medicinal plants in the world, is right there. Dandelions are one of the only plants, and read about this, that can manage and cure hepatitis C in heavy doses. Heavy doses. Everybody's going to respond different, but anybody that has any form of hepatitis, so it can be a really bad liver disease, this is one of the few things that cleans your liver out. It's one of the best liver cleansers in the forest. Great detox. I eat dandelions whenever I see them. I try not to eat all the dandelions in one spot, but you can mix, because they're bitter. The bigger they are, the bitterer they are. Get them when they're small and in the spring, they're not as bitter. But dandelion greens are blood cleansers and liver cleansers in particular.
So which is the actual, I saw the
You
flower.
can eat everything. You can eat the root. The root is what you would make tea or tinctures out of. It's real astringent, it's real bitter, and it sucks all the crap out that you don't want in your body. Leaves, dandelions. Chicory looks real similar to dandelion when it's young too. Chicory makes really good coffee. Dandelion. So if you want to try one, you're welcome to. If you're not sure, it is kind of bitter. It's like, ooh, but it's good. And it will clean stuff out of your body.
You're gonna eat the flowers too.
Clean flowers. My grandfather used to make dandelion wine. My cousin used to feed that to me when I was like 7, 8. I just saw some. What are you at, Mama? Staining on you, ma.
Right here?
No, this is a multiflora rose bush. I remove most of these because they clog up everything else. Here's motherwort. Right here looks kind of like oregano. It's motherwort. Our herbalist makes decoctions and tinctures and all kinds of stuff out of motherwort. Motherwort growing. If
Wild onion.
wild onion, alliums. If she likes where she's at, she takes off. And we replanted about 5 bundles of motherwort around here. Every one of them, if I remember right, is taken off. She's growing up here. It's all over. This is a motherwort stand. Motherwort alliums. When we open up the space a little bit, I'll show you wild garlic and wild onions. Who's ever had ramps before? They're alliums. Real garlicky. Tasting. It's a wild wheat.
Watch out, Jason.
Or berry-bearing trees that's edible. Now, there is a tree that looks similar to this that will make you very sick. It's called a flowering dogwood tree. This one is unmistakable. It's called spice bush, and they make spice berries. Here's how to tell. These will leaf out in the late summer. They always grow close to water. Dogwoods typically don't. A dogwood is a lot higher tree. This is a lower tree, or sometimes it's considered a shrub. Really a tree. A couple ways to tell. One, the berries will grow in little clusters. The leaves are very different than a dogwood, and it does not flower. Easiest way to tell the difference. Scratch a little bit of the bark. You'll see green. Smell it. Check it out. These berries are not ripe yet. They will be here pretty soon. Spice bush.
Right out.
That is a native plant here all over Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia. This is my favorite. It's common chickweed, mouse-eared chickweed, giant chickweed. It's also a very hard plant to misidentify. See these little tiny plants that grow kind of in a quilt and a cover on the ground that have these leaves that are opposite from each other, and they grow in these little clusters. It's kind of like a heart of chickweed. A little bit, and I'll eat everything. I'm going to give you first.
Are they good for anything?
Cherokee used to use these for like UTI management,
No idea what that means.
urinary tract
You are
infection.
messing up my
If you don't drink a lot of water, you get an infection in your bladder and it hurts to pee. This will help cure that. So, Kinga, come here, Pipes. Come here.
She's like, I want to be in the video.
Come here, honey. Get me by the way. Come on.
That's what I meant about a harness.
Hi.
In the video, I'm going over.
Oh, it's upside down. Oh, she got her arm through. Let me see. I don't know. We're gonna fix it.
Fix me.
Those little berries, I wouldn't eat them from these. These can be bitter, and some of them can be potentially toxic. But this tree is good for all kinds of stuff. Bugs usually don't burrow into it. Salute. It's great for building things. The bark is wonderful for tinder, and this stuff smells really good if you burn it. It's an incense, and it's used as a smudge plant as well. Eastern red cedar, and it's a conifer. It's an evergreen tree, so it's one of the trees that's really easy to identify in the winter because it's still green. It has these little tiny little needles as opposed to the big needles like on most of your pine trees, and it's the only juniper that grows in this part of the world. Starting to leaf out. You'll see a lot of like praying mantis nests and stuff on these guys. Yeah, eastern red cedar, and the bark flakes off in these big long strips. It's wonderful tinder. If you do pull some off of the tree, don't pull too much off. It's like pulling off a scab. If you pull the stuff that's off, pull off what's already flaking. That's the tree's way of getting rid of bugs. It flakes off that bark so the bugs don't burrow into it. What's up, y'all? You wanna walk with us? Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Billy. Mushroom, that's cap polypore. That was the same mushroom that we were burning today that we were using as tinder.
I want some of that.
I'll give you a little piece back here. Take what you want. Yeah. I try not to harvest too much from the trees here because this stuff does still have to grow. If you see that growing on a tree, that means the tree is sick or it's dead.
Yep.
Oh, you got some nice pine pigs. Good pine pigs. Pine trees, but hemlock trees is a good place. Hemlock tea is really good from the tree, not the plant. Suga canadensis, and most plant people do not refer to plants or trees with their common names. They talk about their Latin names because maculata is water hemlock, and canadensis, Suga canadensis, is the tree, eastern hemlock. You say, yeah, we're gonna make some maculata tea. Most of your herbalists would be like, really? Have at it. These things are really good when they have these bright green little needles. When they start to leaf out, needle out in the springtime, making tea out of those is one of the best herbal teas that you will ever have. A little bit of honey in it, they're awesome.
I thought you said it was the hemlock?
The plant is toxic. The tree is not. Canadensis, Suga canadensis is good for you. It's a great fire starter tree too. You can pass that around. They're a little bit bitter right now because it's wintered over. They've got a real kind of citrusy taste to them. You want to grab a little bit? That one just broke off recently. It's still green. Imagine that steep water. This is a very small stand right now. Come on, Bikes. Go by the way. Come on, we Millifolia or yarrow. Call it yarrow. Before hops were introduced into beer, people used to put yarrow in them, and it was a medicinal beverage. It's called a gruit. If you've ever had one, it's pretty cool.
It's this little tiny thing.
Yep, millifolia. This is good for everything. All kinds of antiseptic properties. Soldier's wound wart. If you get a really bad cut and you stuff this stuff in it, it's gonna start to heal it. It's one of the most antimicrobial medicinal plants in North America. Yeah, it's all over the world too. This stuff is wonderful.
Good blood pressure T2. You yarrow with hawthorn.
Yeah,
Mix
yeah,
that
we'll
together.
I've heard that.
This is great.
If you want to try some, you're welcome to. I would not try a lot, a little bit. This stuff will knock out all kinds of stuff in your in large quantities. But if you eat too much of it, it can knock out more stuff than you want. A little bit is not going to hurt you though. Yarrow tea is really good.
Looking at these.
So what you do, come here puppy, Kinga, come here, is take a little bit. Yeah, there you go. If you want to split that with somebody, I wouldn't eat the whole thing. Take a little bit and just taste it. It tastes like medicine. It doesn't taste like, oh wow, it's kind of edible. It tastes like medicine. If you crush it up and smell your fingers, it has a very medicine-y smell to it. You can make a poultice, which means you chew it up for about 5 seconds and then put it on a cut. You can just squish it up and put it on a cut. You can make a tincture out of it, which is anything with alcohol. When you cook it down, you need a little bit of it, and you put it on injuries, put it on cuts, put it on sunburn. Sometimes it can help with a little bit. Do all kinds of stuff with yarrow. Our herbalist does all kinds of workshops with yarrow.
Would you put it straight on, or would you maybe mash it up a little bit to put it on a
To
wall?
get it better, to get it all the sap to come out of it, you mash it up. This hillside, in like May, June, some of the yarrow plants are like this high. They're beautiful along the wood line, and they'll flower out with these beautiful, tiny little white flowers. It's a really cool plant. If you want to taste some, there's a whole bunch of yarrow right here. It takes real minty, real potenty tasting. Yeah, yarrow's good stuff. Yeah, I'm out of the way.
Too
of a whole
much
bunch of-
might have a laxative effect.
I don't think it has a cathartic effect like